Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Trader Tea Time with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 30th of May 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's afternoon session where we're gonna have a look at the markets, a few of the charts, just a quick overview of what's happening right now. And yep, before we do that, before we jump into the charts, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. There's always a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the Nasdaq Composite Index. So I've looked at this one this week already, and when we were last time talking about this, the index was trading around here, still above this key importance support zone near the 7,580 level. But as you can see, it dropped lower yesterday. It closed below it. So looking at the cash index right now, let's for example Nasdaq 100 cash index, it is slightly climbing higher, but of course all the focus is going to be on today's open. If this index remains below this 7,580 zone, well, this could be a nice signal for another round of selling here for the bears, and we could see this one traveling lower. And now the targets that we've got here in mind are the 7,440 and the 7,410, so just about 30 points difference between these two. So this, as you can see, this is that little gap that we had here between the 8th of March and the 11th of March as well. So that's why we're going to initially target the 7,440, but if it continues to slide lower, then yep, the 7,410 could be that nice good sweet spot for the bears here as well. So but that's all in the scenario if we remain below this 7,580 zone. Now again, also let's say even if we see a push higher, the somewhat of a last resort for the sellers to step in here again could be near this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 3rd of May, and then yep, we could see another, like I said, slide here. But again, initially what we're going to aim for is this 7,580. We'll see how it performs around there. If it struggles to overcome it, then yep, we could see another slide. For those who are more on the cautious side, you could in a way wait until we see a clear break here below the 7,510 zone, approximately there. This way the index would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, then this is where these two levels could come into play, the 7,440 and the 7,410. So in other words, let me just quickly put this arrow here. So a break below the 7,510, these yesterday's lows, then yep, could potentially kind of trigger another round of selling, which could lead towards these two levels that I just talked about. But that's of course for those who are more on the cautious side. First, like I said, for those who are more adventurous, I mean, keep your eyes on this 7,580 zone. If it struggles to push above it, then we may see another slide here. And also, as I said, the last resort for the bears to step in could be near this downside resistance line if this index decides to push a little bit higher here. But the only thing is that still at that point, if we see a push above the 7,580, this little territory for us is going to be somewhat of a neutral one, because to be honest, I mean, it could have the equal chance to kind of break to the upside here as well. So but again, for us, let's say to get comfortable with let's say higher levels, at least for a few days more, we would like to see a nice good push above the 7,796 level here, the highlighted area. I mean, this way the index would also be placed above its 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. And in a way, by the time probably it could travel all the way here, it would also be placed above all of its EMAs here, the 21, of course, the 21, the 50, and the 100 as well. So that's why this level here for us becomes that somewhat of a more important one than, let's say, taking it straight away from here already. But again, of course, if we do get a nice push above this downside resistance line, of course this could increase the chances for the index to travel higher. But again, like I said, for us to become a little bit more comfortable with higher levels, ideally we would like to see a nice push above the 7,796 initially, or in a way you could round it up towards the 7,800 level just for that peace of mind. And yep, keep your eyes on these two levels for now, guys, the 7,580 and the 7,796 level. Ripple, very interesting here. I've talked about this one this week, and we're still trading around here somewhere, and basically it continues to push higher. That's good news for the bulls. It was now like kind of, it got held today near this 0.4665 level approximately here, which, as you can see, previously here on around mid-May, when it managed to push higher and reach this high here near the 0.4790. To be honest, as you can see, the 4-hour candle never closed above this level here, the 0.4665, and that's why this level, it was also quite an important one that we were keeping a close eye on. So it's now pushing above it. The next potential target, of course, or even, I wouldn't even say the word actually potential, but the next target for us is here, the 0.4790. That's what we're going to be looking out for. But if that fails to withhold, now this is where it could turn out to be quite interesting for more bulls, as more of them could start joining in and potentially driving this one higher, because a nice good break above the 0.4790 would confirm a forthcoming higher high here, and we could then target the psychological 0.50 level, or even above that a little bit. We do have the 0.5093 zone approximately there, 93, 95. And just to show you what that level was here in the past, let me just scroll back here a little bit. This is what I'm talking about here, guys. So this is that little spike that we saw around November time, around the 19th of November. So basically that's what we're going to be targeting if we see a nice good clear break above the 0.4790 level. So for now, of course, looking at this picture, it seems to be positive. Of course, it could continue traveling higher, but we ideally we would like to see a nice good push above this one here, the 0.4790 level, before kind of getting comfortable with, with the psychological 0.50 level. In terms of the downside here, well, if this suddenly starts dropping below the 0.4367, 65 area approximately there, what we're going to do here is we're just going to target this upside support line for now, this upside support line taken from the low of the 11th of May, and then we'll take it from there, see if it actually wants to break it. If it does, then just for that better confirmation of the downside, we would need to wait for a break below this little area right here, below the 0.3960 level, and then we will aim for lower levels. But again, this scenario, let's put it that way, we'll only consider these lower levels only if we see a drop below the 0.4367. So for now, keep your eyes on the upside. There are some good potential barriers here, but if those barriers get overcome, then we could see this one traveling higher. Now, something that you probably don't look at very often, but just wanted to quickly touch on, and that's USD, US dollar against the Turkish lira. So today we're seeing this nice strengthening of the Turkish lira, and moving all the way here towards this 5.8620 level, which previously, as you can see, acted as a good area of resistance here back on the 22nd of April, and also as a support zone on the 24th of April. So we can see that we had a perfect hit, a perfect touch. So some news reports say that this has been triggered by the a good kind of call that Donald Trump had with Erdogan, and that's why this the Turkish currency strengthened here. So of course that's according to some of these reports. But from the technical side here, yes, it could now retrace a little bit higher, given the fact that looking at this 4-hour chart, it broke its 200 EMA, and we could see maybe this one traveling a little bit higher again, maybe testing this 200 EMA from underneath, and if it struggles to overcome it, then we may see another leg of selling here. Maybe this could drive the pair again back towards this 5.8620, but if that fails to withhold, yep, a break below it would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could then target some of these lower areas, and one of which could be seen around, let me just quickly put this one on the chart, around here, guys. So this is around the 5.7830 zone, so approximately there, 7830, 50. So keep your eyes on this. Like I said, this could play out nicely if this decides to travel higher. Now, from this picture that we're seeing here right now, to be honest, for us now, in order to consider higher levels, ideally we would like to see a push above this tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 9th of May, and for that better confirmation, of course, a nice good push back above this little high around the 23rd of May that we had near the 6.1480 zone, approximately there, and if we do get a nice push above this, then yep, we will consider higher levels. This little territory for us is still going to be somewhat of a bearish one. Like I said, if we see a break above the downside resistance line, sorry, then we will target this barrier right here that I just talked about, the 6.1480. But if that fails to withhold, then this is where it could turn out interesting for the bulls here, and we could then target the highest point of May near the 6.25 zone, not far from there. So for now, of course, looking at this picture, it seems to be more bearish than bullish. If we do see a push higher, keep your eyes on the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, and then if it struggles to overcome it, then we may see another leg of selling here. So USDCAD, very quickly on this one, so it strengthened. So yesterday I was talking about this one, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on the 1.35 level. So if we do see at least the 4-hour candle staying above it, we could see this one traveling higher. As you can see, it did push higher, but kind of failed to move all the way towards this target that I had here in mind, around the 1.3565. So it reversed back down, and today you can see now it's trading again below this 1.35 level. So this kind of the upper side of this range that the pair was trading in, but the only thing is that, yes, on one hand it could now slide a little bit lower, but as you can see now what's happening here, it kind of got held not far from this upside support line, this tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 22nd of May. So for now we're going to remain somewhat neutral. If we see a drop here below this upside support line, yes, we will start considering lower areas, but the only thing is, just to kind of, for that better confirmation, ideally we would like to see a drop below the 1.3450, or even better, the 1.3425 zone. So this way, yep, we could target the lower side of the range again. So for now we're going to remain neutral. If this reverses back above the 1.35 level, we'll keep a close eye on the 1.3522, but if that fails to withhold, now this is where we will aim for higher levels again. Very quickly on AUDUSD, I've talked about this one as well, and basically this one is stuck here within this little tight range, roughly between the 0.6905 and the 0.693738 zone, so approximately there. Now for now we're going to remain cautious, we're going to remain very careful with this one. We need to see a clear break through either the upper side here of this little range or the lower side of it in order to kind of consider a further directional move. But again, with the further directional moves, we're not going to go crazy on this one. Or if we see a drop below the 0.6905, then we'll just target these May lows, which were near the 0.6862. But if we see a nice big push above this little range here, then we will initially aim for the 0.6970 or this 200 EMA here, which probably could almost coincide with the this level right here, if let's say this pair decides to reverse and push higher. So for now, that's what we're going to target. If of course this starts breaking to the upside, that's wonderful, good news for the bulls. We could see this one traveling higher, but for now let's keep it short and simple, and let's target the first let's wait for a clear break, either through the upper side of this range or through the lower side of it. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's euro dollar. So it's a bit of some signs of weakness showing up here. Now, what I talked about, I've talked about this one previously, and what I was saying was that if we see, of course, initially a drop below the 1.1175, this could, of course, increase the chances for for this pair to travel lower, and it could test this area right here, and you can see that around the 1.1130, and you can see that this is where the rate got stalled. But further declines, for another drop lower below this could in a way lead towards the 1.1110 zone, so which acted as a very good area of support here back on the 26th of April. But to be honest, if that fails to hold, now this is where the pair would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and well, I mean, we could start targeting much lower areas. But for now, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. First, let's see if it actually wants to reach this 1.1110 zone. If it reaches that but fails to drop below it, we may see a small maybe bounce back to the upside here, a small correction. But then again, for us now to, let's say, at least consider the upside a little bit more, we would like to see a nice good push back above the 1.1175, and ideally in order to kind of, let's say, consider higher levels in the near term, we'd like to see a push above the 1.1215. so keep your eyes on those levels, guys. Okay, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching until the end. And if you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, on the Traders Espresso at 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.